Wow. You may very well be familiar with this character that's on the screen. Granted, I'm not entirely familiar with this version of Fireman Sam, but nonetheless, I'm still aware of who Fireman Sam was portrayed to be from my childhood. But I can't even believe I'm making this video. I'm going to keep it relatively short, purely for the fact that I really don't want to talk about it too much, but I just have to say this. So we've got, Fireman Sam, everybody remembers it. And now we've got, Can She Fix It? BBC seeks gender balance in cartoons. We've got CBeebies launches female-led cartoon Bits to address gender imbalance in kid shows. Bob the Builder and Fireman Sam axed to fix gender imbalance on kids' TV. CBeebies is looking to broadcast more female-led animations. And we've got CBeebies scraps Bob the Builder and Fireman Sam for more gender-balanced TV. And finally, I've already read this one. Regardless, we'll stick to this one for just now. Goodbye Bob the Builder, hello Bits the Girl Engineer. The BBC's preschool channel CBeebies is launching several female-led animations after its controller admitted that gender imbalance was often worse in cartoons than mainstream television. And before I dwell any further into this lunacy, this bullshit for what it is, right? Bob the Builder, Fireman Sam. When I was a kid, I just seen it as a program. I didn't particularly care, right? And if that was if the route they were going down was purely just to introduce female characters, then be my guest. Who cares? I wouldn't have cared when I was that age because it was just a program. It was just something you watched, whether it was after school or before school or at the weekends. Who cared? You just watched it because it was child friendly. It was for children, But this approach that they're going with, this quote-unquote gender imbalance, blah, blah, blah. But in order to make it an equal balance, they are scrapping one hand and replacing it with the other. It doesn't particularly seem to me that it's equal. Doesn't particularly seem to me that it's balanced. It's a lack of a gender imbalance, therefore there's too many quote-unquote male characters, so you're going to scrap them and replace them with female characters. Therefore, that means that there's more female characters than there is male characters. Don't really see how you solve anything there. Why would it not have... It would have made more sense to introduce female character shows, cartoons, whatever, animations, and kept the male ones as well. What fucking planet are we on, man? And at the end of the day, if the route they're going down is that, this is setting kids up to think certain quote-unquote stereotypical ways, then you're backing a loser as far as I'm concerned. Because when I was watching programs such as Bob the Builder and Fireman Sam, I never for 1 second thought that only men could be firemen and only men could be builders. As I got older, without any interference from teachers and whatnot, because granted I'm only 22 years old, but when I was in school there wasn't as much interference as there seems to be now, so it must have happened pretty quickly after I left primary school. But I just started to learn of my own accord that there was plenty female firemen or firewomen as they would be called, as well as firemen. And it wasn't until I left school at 17, 18, and then was working on a building site for near enough 3 years, until just about a year ago, almost, or if not more, sorry, I only ever seen one female on that building site. And that's got nothing to do with fucking Bob the Builder. No, it's just because women don't want to work on a building site. And it's not sexist to say such a thing. And if they wanted to work on a building site, I really don't think anybody that was on the building sites that I worked on would have gave a shit, because they never cared about the one girl that did work on that building site. So again, this is really all just about this gender bender bullshit, is it not? Anyway, women have been given more prominent roles across the BBC in recent years, but the long turnaround times of animated series have hampered the drive to diversify children's programming. Kay Benbow, who steps down this month after 7 years at the helm of CBeebies, said that she was proud of promoting female stars such as Maggie Aderin Pocock, the host of Stargazing, and Rachel Yankee, the England footballer who presents Footy Pups. However, she acknowledged that her network cartoons had been male-dominated for too long. So, let's just scrap the males and make it more female-dominated. Makes sense. To redress the balance, there is no balance, it's a blatant imbalance, as you've implied, and is going to continue after what you plan to put into place transpires. Anyway, CBeebies is launching Bits and Bob, about an engineering-obsessed 8-year-old girl and her brother. Again, it goes back to my point that I said about a minute or two prior. Just because you're seeing programs on the TV, it does not... Especially at the age that CBeebies is addressed to, created for, you know, it's for like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7, whatnot. You know, it's for kids. They don't care. Their brain doesn't take in the quote-unquote genders and sexes and the stereotypes. The only people that have a problem with what they're seeing is the people that have the problem themselves. But anyway, so they want to create a show about bits and bobs about an engineering obsessed 8-year-old girl. If a woman wants to be an engineer, nobody's going to stop her. The floor is hers to do what she wants to do. Fireman Sam and Bob the Builder, or Bits and Bob, are not going to persuade or disallow any motivation in that regard. She's the problem solver, Miss Benbow said. We've female engineering consultants on board. What do you? Shobna, whatever. The Dinner Ladies actress will voice the character of Carrie in Treasure Champs, an animated series about generosity, empathy, and honesty. Space in the schedules has been cleared by axing some male-led animations. It's all about that balance, you know? Let's just get rid of Fireman Sam, Bob the Builder. Make way for fucking some girl programs. All about gender equality, clearly. CBeebies launched in 2002 to provide programming for under 6s, is watched by 2.3 million children a week. A growing proportion of its audience accesses BBC shows online through apps or on-demand services. CBeebies is the second most visited iPlayer channel after BBC One. This drift to on-demand viewing may eventually take the CBeebies Digital's channel superfluous, Ms. Benbow conceded. I'm well aware that some parents simply download a playlist. The responsibility for running CBeebies will pass to Cheryl Taylor. That's good for her. By all means, introduce female lead characters if really that's what gets you going. But by simply saying that the likes of Fireman Sam and Bob the fucking Builder creates a gender imbalance. They have been iconic characters in the children's world for God knows how long. And as I said, the only people that have a real issue with them remaining the iconic characters that they always were is the people that have the problems themselves. I mean, I'll take you back quickly for in this video to BBC article from, granted, this is a bit wavy, but it is 17th of November 2017. We're now on the 10th of December. And it says here, it is one of the most finest and most catchy children's theme tunes of all time. Blah, 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 right? The point is, though, it was literally a month ago that they were bumming up Fireman Sam. Now all of a sudden it's been axed. It's been axed. Why not just introduce female lead animations and cartoons as well as Fireman Sam? What do you think you're going to get from this? Your logic's flawed anyway, because there's there's firewomen, I should say, already that have probably grown up watching Fireman Sam. So what the hell do you think's going to be achieved by introducing bits the girl engineer. What, do you think there's going to be a spike in girl engineers because when they were 5 or 6 years old they watched an engineer cartoon with a girl as the lead character and a dozy brother? No. It's just constant experiments. That, to me, is what this is. It's just, it's LGBT, the whole thing. It's just continuous social experiments being conducted in your children, but it's all under the ruse of, equality, all these new rules, laws, bills, legislations, blah, blah. Your children really are unwillingly, or unknowingly, I should say, being conducted in social experiments. And this is the most absurd piece of garbage I have seen in a long time. Peace.